Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. Now it's starting. All right. Oh, I was just gonna go to sleep, but stuff just keeps going through my head. And I think of where do we go from here? It's a simple question, but it's an important one to think of. And that's for everybody of any political persuasion of where do we go from here? Do we join the pro-China crowd? Do we join the anti-China crowd? Or do we try to stay in the middle with Joe Biden? Do we completely go against him and say screw Biden and screw everything he does? Or do we become like Vosh and say, well, maybe we need to infiltrate the Democratic Party and, continue to support people like AOC, and maybe they'll get us some support. I'm sorry, that sounded kind of schizo, but I'm just going to say, how do you, it's like, do we support Black Lives Matter? Or do we join somewhere else, or whichever, or do we support the local movements and not the big movement, you know? I think that's a real question, isn't it? It's the same thing that's going on with the right in, bigger views, right? What's going to be the game plan for what's going to be the future, for conservatism? It's just going to continue to further support this idea of civil war or, separation. Is that what's going to happen in the next 4 years? Or is it just going to be continuing to, push for anti-China stuff and, SJWs and stuff like that, What's going to happen with, the the Tradcasts and Nick Fuentes and whatnot? Where do they go? Or the anti-maskers and the Proud Boys and all that? Where are they going to go? They're going to continue to be out. How are they going to rebrand themselves? It's going to take time, like I say. But we have to be aware and be able to watch and see where these movements are going and where we are going, but where the enemy is going as well. And I think that's a very important thing to realize. And we have to be able to see everything and keep our head on a swivel. It's just very interesting times that we live in. And I think that it's very easy to throw people out or to shit on people and ignore others or, praise others. It's a very difficult situation we are in. Not just for the world, but just for the United States, even. We see that, this trade war with China is hurting us. And I talked about that a little bit in, my rant video against valuetainment. And we see that it's hurting us. Now, I've seen estimates from about, maybe like 175,000 to 300,000 jobs have already been lost because of this. And GDP is going down by 0.%, like 0.3%, but still, it's hurting our economy. And the fact is that the EU has already signed a deal with China. So while I disagree with the larger portions, I still like China. I still do. And I know people are going to be like, oh, but, and I know, like I say, I know it's contradictory, but it's like, I'm always going to be an American. I do realize that. And I'm always going to be a product of the American system. I've always tried to say that, but I respect the hustle and I respect the changes that China has made. But I would also say, though, that China has always been a superpower. From the Qin dynasties to the Qing dynasty. It's always been a strong force. And I think apart from the Civil War era of China throughout the, post 1911 all the way up through 1949, is that China was a fairly strong nation in many ways. And I think that, we can say, it's that Americans can say, well, I don't like working with Chinesium, all that Chinese crap. But the thing is, though, is that the United States is not producing those things. So you're forced to do that. And I think that standards will be changed in China and that they will be making better stuff. And the US is somewhat becoming isolationist. And that it's just going to be the US and the UK, while Europe, Africa, Asia, and the Middle East, to a point, are going to be siding with China. So it's just going to be these two lone countries, mostly the UK, because they've already, decided to leave the EU, and the United States, and maybe Canada to a point, but, I can't really speak for Mexico or any of these other nations, but it seems like I'm just speaking in broad terms, but geopolitically, that's where we stand. Even Israel, has a lot of deals that they have with China. And they're even getting bullet trains in particular, that China has produced, are being built or being, installed in Israel. So, like I say, it's a complicated geopolitical game that is going on, and we have to understand that. It's multiple levels, and I'm not going to say I understand every ounce of it, because I don't. I do not. And hopefully I'll be able to read a bit more into this and to try to have y'all get that understanding so that we can have that, because it's a complicated thing, isn't it? And it's not going to be, some easy type of issue, So hopefully that's where I'll go from there. Hopefully. Um, yeah, that's, I think that's all I have to say to that. It's a complicated thing. There's a lot of stuff running through my head. Um, I figure I would rather get my thoughts out there incomplete than have them not said at all or watered down if I record this later on. So that's why I'm putting out so many things. Just a lot of things are running through my head, and I'm like, okay, where are things gonna go? But yeah. Anyway, I think I'll keep it there. I hope y'all enjoyed this short video. Um, Maybe I'll try to be somewhat socialist and say solidarity with the socialist movements. I'm sorry, this sounds so cringe. I'm sorry to say it like that. But solidarity with Caleb Maupin. I know that y'all disagree with him and everything, and I know that he just went through he did a debate with Jason Unruh yesterday, technically. I saw the tail end of it, and, I guess Caleb Maupin was like, oh, okay. And, about the issue of talking about billionaires. I mean, I've purposely tried to stay out of it, and I don't really care too much about it necessarily. So, but yeah, it's a balance, isn't it? And but yeah, I will say solidarity with that. I would also say solidarity with, I'll put it this way: solidarity with the working, with the American citizen for now. I'll put it that way: solidarity with the American citizen in trying to make a better United States. I'll start with that, because I can't really say any deeper than that. But yeah, I will say a solidarity with them and a new year where wait and see, basically. A new year where rhetoric is going to change, and the balance of power is shifting, and we have to see how everybody is going to react. But as it stands, is the United States is becoming more isolationist because of China, and a lot of people saying that, well, China created the coronavirus, while China has sent doctors. I mean, so is Cuba to places like Italy. They've Germany and everything else. So that's where we stand. How bad is it going to get in the United States? That's the real question, isn't it? Is the United States going to bite the bullet and say, okay, white flag, we can't win a trade war against China? Or are they going to continue to stick to their guns and say, nope, we're going to continue to put these tariffs on? That's going to be one of the biggest issues. But yeah, whew, I went for 11 minutes there. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that. Goodbye.